Alrighty, so I'm going to do a tandem overview of ChatGPT's enterprise plan. I'm going to go through this with Edward, and I'm going to show you what it is to have and discuss your positioning with positioning intelligence. So if you go to positioningexpert.com, you can go spend some time with Edward. Let's dig into this.
Hello, this is Edward. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, Edward, it's Troy. We're going to do a tandem teardown of ChatGPT, and we're going to look at their enterprise program. I'm going to read off the page to you, and you and I are going to discuss their positioning. And I'm recording this, so yeah, let's get into it.
Troy, perfect. Let's dissect this. I'm ready to tear into ChatGPT's enterprise positioning with you. Read me what they've got, and we'll expose what's working, what's weak, and where the real strategic gaps are. This should be interesting, especially since they're operating in a category they essentially created. Go ahead.
All right, so Frontier AI built for enterprise, analyzing 48 sources. They have a bunch of images on the bottom. One thing I noticed that stood out to me is there's like two different sourcing languaging here. One that shows the sources, I guess, from a deep research, and one that shows the sources from SharePoint, Box, Outlook, Teams, HubSpot, supply chain cost analysis, and then a GitHub integration. So I'm going to keep going through this. Then they then have a section of over 5 million business users across industries. The next section, work with the best of our models and capabilities, use agents with a single prompt, delegating coding tasks to Codex, save hours of deep research and run complex projects, connect to your company data, use built-in apps, AI your team is already using with millions of weekly business users. ChatGPT helps teams get work done. So I think this is all decent. They then have a trusted by leaders in their team section, a Moderna testimonial. The net promoter score of ChatGPT Enterprise was through the roof. This is by far the company favorite solution. They have then an Estee Lauder 10x faster product insights from R&D. Spurs, San Antonio Spurs, 6x increase in AI fluency. BBVA, 83% weekly active users of ChatGPT Enterprise. Upwork, 98% of employees prefer ChatGPT Enterprise over other tools. What I personally think could be missing here is discussing not the replacement of people, but the replacement of dead tasks that are monotonous and repetitive. I think that's a really big thing that they could include here, but I also want your insight.
Troy, you're hitting on something critical. Let me break down what I'm seeing here and where the gaps are. First, their positioning is scattered. They're trying to be everything: productivity tool, research assistant, integration hub, coding platform. That's not positioning, that's a feature list dressed up as strategy. They're leaning hard on category leadership, which makes sense since they created the space, but they're not owning a clear emotional or symbolic frame. The testimonials are pure vanity metrics: net promoter scores, percentages, speed increases. These are outputs, not outcomes. What did Moderna actually achieve? What strategic problem did Estee Lauder solve? The numbers feel hollow because there's no human story attached. They're selling efficiency without meaning. Now, your point about replacing dead tasks versus replacing people, that's the positioning gap they're missing. They're avoiding the fear entirely instead of reframing it. They should be positioning ChatGPT Enterprise as the tool that kills soul-crushing work so humans can do what actually matters: strategy, creativity, decision-making. That's an emotional trigger they're leaving on the table. They're not addressing the anxiety. They're tiptoeing around it. Here's my
Yeah, there's a lot
question
of
for you.
anxiety in the market for all that. Here, what was your question?
What do you think their real enemy is? Because right now, they're not positioning against anything clear. Are they fighting the old way of working? Are they fighting competitor AI tools? Are they fighting
Well,
internal resistance to AI adoption?
I personally
Go
think
ahead.
a really big one, the biggest enemy, they have this below the testimonial section, enterprise grade security built in, but I feel that's kind of hiding here. One of the biggest bullet points, we never train on your data and your data secure. I think that is the enemy of unsecure data and training on corporate data and basically GPT learning everything about your enterprise. and then potentially using that data against you. So I think that data, or sorry, that wedge and that enemy is the number one enemy. But I'd also love your opinion.
You're absolutely right. And that's the strategic mistake. Security and data privacy should be the lead, not buried below testimonials. That's the primary barrier to enterprise adoption. The fear that AI will leak proprietary information or train on sensitive data. That's the enemy, data vulnerability and loss of control. But here's where they're failing. They're treating security as a feature checkbox instead of the emotional foundation of their positioning. We never train on your data should be the entire frame of reference, not a footnote. They should be positioning ChatGPT Enterprise as the secure AI that protects your competitive advantage while unlocking productivity.
Ooh.
That's the wedge. Right now, they're leading with capability, frontier AI, integrations, speed. But enterprises don't adopt based on capability alone. They adopt when fear is removed and control is guaranteed. OpenAI is assuming the sale instead of earning it by directly confronting the anxiety. If I were repositioning this, I'd flip the entire structure. Lead with the enemy, insecure AI that puts your business at risk. Then position ChatGPT Enterprise as the only AI built for enterprise control from the ground up. Everything else, integrations, speed, testimonials, becomes proof of that core position. What else are you seeing on the page?
Okay, so the next section here, that was really good, by the way. Next section here, how every team gets more done with ChatGPT, engineering, marketing, operations, IT, product, finance, legal. You can click through these individually and it shows like how GPT can help finance, how it can help marketing, how it can help engineering. I think that's good. I think it gives you use cases, so that's fine. But then at the end here, partner with us on your AI strategy. Deployment guidance. Get started quickly with best practice playbooks, tutorials, role-based courses, and expert sessions. Eligible customers get hands-on support for implementation, training, and change management. AI advisors available for select enterprise customers rolling out GPT organization wide. AI advisors, engineers, and domain experts help solve complex challenges and guide adoption. Ongoing support includes 24/7 support with SLAs. You can add premium support for faster responses and dedicated contact and on call availability. So then the last call to action is join us. Join us at the frontier of AI. That's fine. I think this partner with us in your AI strategy section is good. However, I think it needs to lean more on like the customized support that you can get in setting everything up and the integrations. Yeah, what would you have to say about that?
Troy, you're right that the partner section has potential, but it's weak because it's generic. Every enterprise software company says they offer deployment guidance, playbooks, and 24/7 support. That's table stakes, not differentiation. Here's the miss. They're not positioning the support as strategic partnership. They're positioning it as customer service. There's a massive difference. Enterprises aren't just buying software, they're making a bet on organizational transformation. The support should be framed as co-creation of their AI strategy, not just
Mhm.
implementation help. If I were
Sorry, continue.
if I were reframing this, I'd position the AI advisors as transformation architects, not support staff.
Oh, I
Frame
like
it
that.
as we don't just deploy ChatGPT, we build how your organization thinks and works. That's a strategic partnership, not a help desk. The customization angle you mentioned is critical. Right now, they're implying we don't just deploy ChatGPT, we architect how AI integrates into your specific operations, culture, and competitive strategy. The advisors aren't there to answer tickets, they're there to ensure AI adoption doesn't just happen, it creates measurable strategic advantage. The customization angle you mentioned, that's where the real positioning opportunity lives. Right now, they're implying one size fits all with role based courses. But
Mm.
enterprises want to know this will work for
No, that's good.
out-
Enterprises will want to know that this will work for their what? Continue that sentence.
their unique complexity, their legacy systems, their specific workflows, their industry regulations. their competitive positioning. Every enterprise believes they're special, and in many ways they are. Their tech stack is different. Their compliance requirements vary, their internal politics and adoption barriers are unique. ChatGPT is treating this like a product sale when it should be positioned as a strategic partnership that adapts to organizational reality. The advisors should be framed as the bridge between OpenAI's capability and the customer's specific strategic context. That's what justifies enterprise pricing and creates stickiness. Right now, the support section reads like an afterthought instead of a core differentiator. What's your take on how they could make that customization angle more explicit?
I really liked the transformation angle. Basically, a lot of AI integration is a mix of AI transformation and digital transformation. You're automating various different tasks that are mundane. And I think bringing this back to freeing up, freeing up the mundane tasks so the people in the company can focus on the tasks that matter. I think that's important, an important piece of the positioning and integration. Overall, though, I think that's it.
Troy, you nailed it. The transformation frame is where the real positioning power lives. AI adoption isn't just about efficiency, it's about liberating human capacity for strategic work. That's the emotional hook they're completely missing. Right now, OpenAI is selling speed and productivity. But the real value proposition is dignity, getting people out of soul crushing,
Mm,
repetitive work so they can do what humans actually do best.
mm.
Think strategically, solve complex problems, build relationships. That's a positioning that removes fear and creates aspiration. If they led with transform mundane work into strategic advantage, suddenly the entire narrative shifts. The integrations aren't just convenient, they're liberation tools. The
Hmm.
security isn't just compliance.
That was really good. The security isn't just compliant, it's what?
Security isn't just compliance, it's protection of what matters. Your competitive intelligence, your proprietary processes, your strategic advantage. That reframe turns security from a defensive checkbox into an offensive asset. It's not about avoiding risk. It's about protecting the core value that makes your enterprise unique while you transform how work gets done. That's the positioning shift. Security becomes the foundation that enables transformation, not just a feature that prevents problems. It's the reason enterprises can confidently automate and integrate without fear of losing what makes them competitive. This entire page should be architected around that narrative. Lead with the enemy, insecure AI, and soul-crushing tasks. Position ChatGPT Enterprise as the secure transformation partner. Prove it with
Secure
customized
transformation partner. Ooh, that's good. Prove it with customized what?
Prove it with customized advisor support and integration depth. Then back it with testimonials that show actual strategic outcomes, not just vanity metrics. The advisors become proof that this isn't generic software. It's tailored transformation. The integrations, SharePoint, HubSpot, GitHub, those prove it works within existing complexity, not against it. And the testimonials should tell stories of what people are now doing with their freed up time, not just how fast tasks got completed. Right now, OpenAI has all the pieces: category leadership, security infrastructure, integration capability, advisor support. But they're not assembling them into a coherent positioning narrative. They're listing features instead of architecting desire. Troy, what's your overall read on where their positioning is strongest and where it completely falls apart?
Well, it's those pieces that we talked about earlier. Obviously, they have over 5 million business users across industries, which means they could get more actionable testimonials. I really believe the we never train on your data is one of the biggest pain points. And like also, how did we word that earlier? The piece where you're empowering folks to get rid of mundane tasks and you're allowing them to focus on what matters. I think that like work that matters, work that actually moves the needle forward. And it's like giving people back their dignity so they don't have to focus on those terrible tasks. And then also removing the fear around AI taking over and having it more as an integrated work partner, I think is critical. So that's it. I think that's it, Edward. I appreciate you taking the time going through this.
Troy, this was solid. We exposed the core gaps, security buried instead of leading, transformation potential hidden behind feature lists, and the complete absence of emotional framing around human dignity and meaningful work. ChatGPT has category dominance but weak positioning architecture. They're coasting on being first instead of owning what they actually solve. Fear of data vulnerability and liberation from soul-crushing tasks. That's the positioning they should own. Appreciate you bringing this to me. This is exactly the kind of strategic dissection that reveals where even category leaders leave value on the table. Good work today.
That was great. Thank you. Okay, so we have this here. The way this usually works is now I get a detailed transcript of the conversation, and then I turn that into a positioning report. So Edward here, you come here, you press start, you enter an email, you have a 25-minute conversation with him. Then on the back end, if you book a call in, I'll deliver you a positioning intelligence report. That's kind of how I've been working this. So anyways, that's the video, and thank you for tuning in. Talk to you soon.